After all that's happened in 2015, 2016 must come as a huge relief. Is today a day of relief for you? Or would you say that today is a day where, in a sense, the momentum of 2014 has once again come back as a result of what's happened in Assam in particular? How are you seeing the big picture that has emerged today, Mr. Jaitley?
Well, I think the big picture that has emerged today is that if you were to look for one headline, I think it's an all-time low as far as the Congress party is concerned. The two regional parties have done well in Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, and I think BJP has expanded geographically its footprints. Not only has it won in Assam, it has sizably increased its votes in West Bengal and in Kerala. And I think for us in the BJP, having struggled so many years to get outside the North Indian, West Indian belt, Karnataka was a major breakthrough. I think Assam is a major breakthrough. The increase in vote in West Bengal and Kerala, I think is a very significant development.
But out of these, would you say, Mr. Jaitley, that Assam is the one which has given you real comfort today? Because you needed to win Assam to, in a sense, get back some of the momentum you had lost after Bihar and Delhi. Am I to understand that this, in a sense, is going to be the new model? The model that you took in Assam, you declared a chief ministerial candidate, you got in local allies. Am I to understand this will now be the model for the future?
Well, I think, Rajdeep, every election has its own script. Now, the Delhi election, the single most important factor which influenced the election was the eclipse of the Congress. The Congress got reduced to 8%, the Aam Aadmi Party went to 54%. Now the Congress in the by-elections went back to 25%, the Aam Aadmi Party comes down to 29%. And therefore the script really, as far as the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi was concerned, there was a novelty value. It got aided by the eclipse of the Congress. As far as Bihar is concerned, I don't think it was a leadership issue. Bihar, the width of the alliance which our allies, which our opponents had forged was so wide that even though BJP got its best ever performance in terms of votes, we couldn't match the width of that alliance. I think what was important in Assam was we had a good leader and we forged a very large alliance. And therefore, the opposite of what had happened in Bihar is exactly what we did in Assam. And I think that's one of the critical factors which has helped us to win an overwhelming majority.
Mr. Jaitley, the idea of a Congress Mukht Bharat was earlier dismissed as just being a war cry. How confident are you that this is something the BJP will actually be able to execute before 2019? Is it something that you're working towards consciously, or is it something that you just say before an election just to try and charge up the cadre? Or do you think it's something that's now around the corner?
I think if you see in reality, in politics you never write obituaries, because politics is a dynamic game. There is never a last day in politics. I think this slogan really means that Congress provided such bad governance that we must get rid of them. And therefore the Congress has been increasingly pushed to the margins. Even the assemblies where we lost, that is Bihar and Delhi, the Congress didn't win a single seat. In Bihar, it was just at the fag end of the tail as far as that alliance is concerned. It was no Congress victory, it was a Lalu or a Nitish Kumar victory. And I think today's election also, the big picture is Congress had two governments, they lost both of them. They had two vital alliances which they were hoping to make headways in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. They did badly. In fact, Tamil Nadu, I think, is extremely significant because the DMK on its own strength was doing well. It's the Congress which was a liability on that alliance, and it pulled the alliance down.
Am I to understand that you also subscribe to one of the one-liners of the day, Congress ka haath, bhasmasur, Congress ka saath, bhasmasur ka haath, or vice versa, Congress ka haath, yani bhasmasur ka saath is what I was told. Are you also claiming now, in your own little way, that touching the Congress
No,
means that you are in
don't.
trouble. Are you going ahead of yourself? Because next year there are other bigger elections coming up, including Uttar Pradesh. Is this a state election, or is this in some way reflection of what's going to happen, you believe, across the country now?
Well, as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, Congress is not a factor. In Punjab, we are only hoping against hope that Congress retains some votes so that the fight between our alliance and the AAP takes place. We don't want Congress to be completely marginalized in Punjab as it was in Delhi.
That's interesting.
And I think the Congress finds itself increasingly marginalized, and it's a good reason why the Congress must seriously introspect as to why this has happened. And I think if they logically analyze it, there is a course correction possible for any national party.
Mr. Jaitley, we had Mamta Banerjee with us this morning, and she said that Rahul Gandhi is Narendra Modi's USP. Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi's leadership or lack thereof is one of the principal reasons why the lotus continues to bloom, get stronger?
Well, without going into personalities, I'll just give you two important facts in my analysis. The first is, you win elections, you lose elections. But you must be clear about the kind of role that you have to perform. I think post 2014, when the Congress lost the Lok Sabha election and lost quite badly, instead of behaving like a natural party of governance, which alternatively can come back to power in future once again, the Congress decided to have an obstructionist approach as far as Parliament was concerned. I think that was a wrong move. A mainstream party can't be obstructionist in perpetuity. Secondly, it started picking up causes with which the mainstream normally does not align. I saw very little of them speaking on political issues, speaking on economic issues, speaking on foreign policy issues. He would pick up small issues, go to Pune or go to JNU and indulge in what the fringe really can do, what an agitator's politics can do. And I don't think they succeeded in presenting a kind of a coherent picture of a natural party of governance. The second point, I believe, that there is an inevitable consequence that a party which is entirely dependent on a family or a dynasty has to face. Without the dynasty, family, the party becomes irrelevant. And there may be instances in history where the family doesn't have stalwarts like Jawaharlal Nehru or Mrs. Gandhi for that matter, and the current generation of the family is such that its optimum strength is less than modest, and therefore it can pull the party down.
So, effectively you are saying that Rahul Gandhi is some kind of a Bahadur Shah Zafar figure for the Congress. I have Shashi Tharoor and Tarun Gogoi with me, Mr. Jaitley, as you are saying all this. Shashi Tharoor, you want to respond to what you've just heard from Arun Jaitley? He's effectively suggesting that your leadership has picked up the wrong issues, you've been obstructionist in Parliament, and maybe, short of saying it, I don't know whether Mr. Jaitley wants to say it on this program, but that you've got to get a new leadership. Am I correct? Have I interpreted you correct, Mr. Jaitley? You believe the Congress cannot, you believe Mamta Banerjee when she says that
I think
Rahul Gandhi is the USP of Narendra Modi?
I think if you are over dependent on one family, then leadership creation in that party suffers. Who are the alternative leaders in the RJD? Who are the alternative leaders in the Samajwadi Party? Who are the alternative leaders, let us say, in any political party which is, let's take the DMK for instance.
Right.
I think this is a dilemma which each one of the family-controlled parties faces. And if you have to be a national party, then you must have a tall leader in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Karnataka, in Kerala. In every state you must have a tall leader. And therefore your leadership really depends on who the family accepts and who the family doesn't accept.
Just moments before now, Digvijay Singh has tweeted to say, we've done enough introspection, shouldn't we go in for a major surgery? Today's results are disappointing but not unexpected. He's calling for a major surgery. Do you at all think, Mr. Jaitley, that's possible? If you were just for a moment, hypothetically speaking, strategizing for the Congress, using all the experience and analytical skills that you have, what would you suggest, Mr. Jaitley?
Well, I would, for any political party which suffers electoral defeats in any state or at the center, the party should not lose its either base ideology or its normal functioning. The party should organizationally strengthen itself. It must continue to take mainstream positions. It can't be some kind of a unionist kind of a political party which is renting a cause by the day, and then irrespective of whether your cadres accept that cause or not. I think the Congress then has to behave like a responsible, natural party of governance and oppose us to the extent that they can.
Okay, let
Shashi respond.
Shashi Tharoor respond. Major surgery.
Even though the GST...
Yes, go ahead about GST.
No. Arun said a lot of things. Let me start first of all.
Even though I was the original author of the GST, I am going to oppose it.
Right. Shashi Tharoor, respond to what you've heard from Arun Jaitley. Your own leadership is calling for major surgery in Digvijay Singh. Arun Jaitley is saying become a responsible party of governance, not a unionist party.
Can I go through each?
Yes.
Let me go through each of Arun's points very quickly. I have great respect for Arun, whom I've known for a very long time.
Yes.
Number one, it was a bit amazing to hear about obstructionism from the man who invented the theory that disruption is a legitimate tactic of parliamentary opposition, which I deplored when he said it at the time, and I deplore it today as well. The fact is that 90% of his government's bills have passed both houses of parliament with the cooperation of the Congress party, and the obstructionism that he alleges has affected very, very few bills indeed, and barely 10% of the parliament's work, and not even that much of the parliament's time. The Lok Sabha has functioned 120% of the allotted hours. Secondly, when Arun talks about the question of there needing to be tall leaders in states, I beg to point out that's exactly what the Congress party has got. Tarun Gogoi was chief minister for 15 years. That's a pretty tall leader. Madhya Pradesh, he mentioned, where we have Digvijay Singh, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Kamal Nath, tall figures with national stature. In Kerala, Oomen Chandy was arguably the best chief minister Kerala's ever had, and somebody who was both popular with the public as well as highly effective, and has left behind.
And they all have to be subservient to Rahul Gandhi.
And welfare schemes.
And they all have to be subservient to Rahul Gandhi. I think the key is that how do you empower these leaders? You've given me a list of leaders, but at the end of the day, Rahul Gandhi is the one who you've empowered. He's the one.
We have the.
He's the one who's the problem.
Saying that for a national party to be credible, it must have tall leaders in the states. My point is, we do have tall leaders in the states, and they have in fact been popular, effective, and far-reaching.
Yes, Mr. Jaitley wants to respond.
Can I intervene at this stage?
Okay, one last point on GST as well. I want to stress, since it's Arun's area, let me just say that we are not opposing GST as a concept. We are opposing specific things that the BJP government has smuggled into the GST bill, specifically the 1% extra for producer states, which guts the heart out of the GST concept. The whole idea is to create one market, not to divide India further into producer states and consumer states. Of course, we've objected to the absence of
So you are saying, Shashi Tharoor, no question of changing.
And so these 3 points.
No, let Arun Jaitley respond, because you are refusing to accept.
The government accepts.
You are refusing to accept there's a leadership crisis. You are refusing to accept, Shashi Tharoor, there's a leadership crisis in the Congress. Am I clear on that? You're not willing to accept. Arun Jaitley, respond to that. Shashi Tharoor is saying that in a sense the Congress has many tall leaders. He's given various names.
Okay.
No, we need
you a question?
young blood.
Let him ask you a question.
All levels of the party.
Maharashtra.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shashi, please. Shashi, tell me who's your leader in Gujarat,
the BJP has done Assam and taken a leader
Odisha,
from your
Telangana
party.
and Andhra today. Offhand, as a senior leader, can you name them? Does the country know who they are in these 6 states that I have asked you a question?
In Gujarat,
an outgoing chief minister obviously is a leader. But tell me your leaders in Gujarat.
In Maharashtra, Ashok Chavan, who was chief minister. Gujarat is Shankar Singh Waghela. He was a chief minister in your time.
So these are all
Our
defeated.
leader, and is very much an active leader.
Mr. Tharoor, these are all defeated leaders. These are all the names you are giving me are of defeated leaders of the Congress.
Also suffered defeats in the past.
No, Shankar Singh Waghela and Ashok Chavan.
What about Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Andhra, Telangana? Does the country know who your leaders are in these states? How do you expect to even put up a fight in those states?
Look, Arun, well, when the time comes, the leaders do tend to emerge. I mean, the fact is we can't sit here today, I agree, in every case, other than naming the PCC president.
Shashi,
I can't tell you
Shashi,
that there is somebody who's already anointed as a chief ministerial candidate for future elections.
Mr. Jaitley, respond.
Shashi, you've had an experience not only in domestic politics of India, you've seen the whole world. You worked outside India. Now tell me, in 2016, in present day and generation, can the world's largest democracy have a principal national party which says, my leadership will come only from one family and from nowhere else? Is it a natural growth of a political party in the world's largest democracy? Can this go on indefinitely? This could go on in the first 2-3 decades after independence, but will it indefinitely go on?
Arun, the last two Congress prime ministers were not members of that family. So the fact is that leadership is not exclusively linked to that family. Certainly the party has got a lot of its DNA linked up with the family, and the family does happen to provide currently our president and vice president. But as I said, two prime ministers have come. One has served 5 years, one has served 10, who were not members of
But they
that
were
family.
accidental.
So I think it's a bit
They
unfair
were
to imply that
accidental.
the
No,
Congress is
Shashi
not to be
Tharoor,
leadership.
Shashi Tharoor, why not
Then they-
concede the larger point that Arun Jaitley is making, that unless you create a new empowered leadership, the Congress party, whether it is a Pepsi Cola model where you empower state leaders, yes, Uman Chandi, Tarun Gogoi empowered, but who else? Who else is truly empowered? Ashok Chavan has to rush to Delhi. Shankar Singh Waghela has to rush to Delhi for an
Rajdeep,
appointment.
Rajiv, Arun is coming from a
You see, a
party
political
which
party
really
needs
is
a
led by
galaxy
one
of leadership.
leader who's a man on a white horse, who has exactly my point. So he has the answer to every question. We have a leadership that says we don't know the answer to every question. We need a team to work on it, and we need to listen to what the people want. It seems
Mr.
to me to
Jaitley,
represent not just a choice of individual leaders, but of two different styles of leadership.
Mr. Jaitley, the flip side is that how is Narendra, is there a team Modi? Because the feeling is you've also put all your eggs in Narendra Modi's basket. If we see what's happened today building up to 2019.
Well, Rajdeep, don't forget.
Do you see 2019 to be presidential style Modi versus Rahul
Don't forget. Well, I don't know it's Modi versus whom, because that Modi versus X itself has become a variable. Because Congress today rules about 7.5% of India's population. The regional parties are far more present in most parts of the country. The BJP today rules over 45% of India's population, even in terms of state governments. So this is a record low as far as Congress history is concerned, and therefore will Congress be the principal opposition in 2019? Today there is an eclipse on that issue.
But if all those parties come together, Mr. Jaitley, is that the fear you have? Given the results that we've seen today, if a Mamata Banerjee, if a Nitish Kumar, with the Congress playing some kind of a B team come together, is that the one threat you see? Because there is a feeling in 2019, if Rahul Gandhi alone is projected, you have a great chance. But if they all come together, is there a fear that you have?
No, there is no fear for the reason the BJP has always moved on a premises of federal politics, and we've always had a reasonable number of regional parties around us. Secondly, even amongst the regional parties which are opposed to the BJP, are you expecting the DMK and the ADMK to come together? Are you expecting the BSP and the SP to come together? Are you expecting the left and Mamata Banerjee to come together? Obviously no. So this kind of a combination is theoretically being discussed before every election, is never possible. The only times where it has been tried by Chaudhry Charan Singh or Mr. Chandrasekhar or Mr. Devagowda, I think it was a disastrous experience which India cannot afford.
Mr. Jaitley, over the past few days, we've seen Nitish Kumar also make certain moves. He went to Uttar Pradesh. He's talking about how prohibition will be his ticket forward. Do you believe today's verdict is a blow to those plans also? Because both Mamata Banerjee and Jayalalitha can legitimately argue that they won bigger states all by themselves, whereas Nitish Kumar was riding piggyback with Lalu Yadav. Do you think Nitish's plans or ambitions also have suffered a bit of a blow today?
Well, I think Rahul, I think it is not pure arithmetic that forms a government. To form a coalition government in India, in a federal polity, you need an anchor of an alliance who's of a sufficiently large size. The anchor must have a national presence. If the anchor itself has 20 to 30 seats in parliament, as it happened during the United Front government, such a combination collapses sooner than later. And therefore, these are theoretical discussions from the point of view of pragmatic politics. A coalition without a reasonable anchor is never possible in such a large country.
Rahul Gandhi going to be that anchor then? Shashi Tharoor, is today's verdict suggesting that Rahul Gandhi may not be that anchor, or do you believe I'm running ahead of myself? Uttar Pradesh happens in 7 months. Can the Congress fight that election on its own? In Punjab at the moment you're battling the Aam Aadmi Party. In Uttarakhand and Himachal you're on the retreat because you have a government in power. You could face anti-incumbency. Can Rahul Gandhi and the Congress be the anchor of an anti-BJP, anti-Modi alliance given what's happened today?
Well, let me agree with my friend Arun Jaitley for once tonight and say that he is right that a hodgepodge coalition of regional parties would be disastrous for the country. And what we need is a credible national alternative, and it can only be provided by the one credible national party that exists other than the ruling party, and that is the Indian National Congress, which has already got an alliance, the UPA, with a number of parties that are still working with it and cooperating with it in Parliament and the Lok Sabha. And the UPA will constitute, in my view, the alternative to Mr. Modi in the 2019 election.
Okay.
The third front, so-called, is riven with contradictions, and very clearly Arun is right that we've had 3 experiments of this nature, all of which have ended prematurely and have ended in ways that haven't been beneficial for the country.
We have
So
to let
it's
Arun
better to have
Jaitley go,
efficient
but before that we have one or
and
two
have
final
a concrete
questions, Mr.
alternative which he would
Jaitley.
offer.
We saw Mamata Banerjee say earlier today to India today.
Rahul, I have to leave now. I
Yes,
won't
just
be able to
one
continue
last
for a long time.
one last question, Mr. Jaitley. We saw Mamata Banerjee say today that she hopes to work with the centre. Also on the GST, sounding as if there was some reconciliation that would be possible. We haven't heard much from Jayalalitha yet, but are you hoping after this verdict in the next session of Parliament you will be able to push the GST through, Mr. Jaitley?
Well, I am clear. Today's verdict is advantage GST.
That's a big soundbite. You're saying today's verdict is advantage GST. Are you saying, and there'll be people listening to the words of the finance minister carefully, that come the monsoon session of Parliament, you now believe GST will be passed, Mr. Jaitley?
I think a setback for the obstructionist is certainly advantage GST.
A setback for the obstructionist is certainly advantage. Am I to say, I'm asking you one last time, you expect it to be passed in the monsoon session, sir?
I am reasonably optimistic.
Okay,
you
your
agree
smile
with our
says it
3
all.
changes,
I've just
certainly,
got a tweet from someone who says it is absolutely wonderful to hear 2 intellectuals, politicians debating on TV without sound and without noise. It's been a privilege talking to both of you, particularly having both of you together. Thank you very much. And Shashi Tharoor, I'm going to try one last time to ask you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaitley.
Do you, on the basis of this 2016 verdict, want to accept that maybe your party now needs to look beyond the Gandhis? I'm asking you one last time, and maybe you want to give me one last attempt at trying to rephrase that answer. Can you look beyond the Rahul Gandhi as a leader?
Rajdeep, we have an existing structure. We have a president and a vice president. I'm one member and one MP. What I think about this is utterly irrelevant. The party as a whole has chosen its leadership. Let the party proceed with the leadership.
Okay.
If there is to be a change, it will happen in an appropriate party forum, and it will probably involve the vice president taking over from the president. That's a normal course. So let's wait and see what happens.
So you believe
Undoubtedly,
Rahul
what's
Gandhi
more
should take
important
over as
than worrying
president?
about one
Vice
name at the
president
head
taking over
is
from president.
all
You're saying
relevant.
Rahul Gandhi should take
My
over from
point-
Sonia and really try and prove himself now. Because there's talk of Priyanka
Rajdeep,
Gandhi for the UP campaign. There's all kinds of conflicting signals coming from the Congress.
All I want to say is that the leadership is one part of the answer to the questions you've asked at the very top. But there is leadership throughout the country. There's leadership at state levels, in the assemblies, in the districts, and we need young people, fresh blood and new energy at all levels.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is a revival and rejuvenation of the party, not a quick fix of changing one name. And I had said to you earlier in the morning when we spoke as the results were coming in, that we need to move beyond introspection to action. I'm glad to hear that Digvijay Singh has said something similar. I think many of us in the party would like to see some decisive changes. They may work, they may not work.
What
but
do you
it's
mean by
time we actually
decisive
step
changes?
forward
What
and got
specifically
our
would you
act
like to
together
see?
so that we
When
don't have-
Digvijay Singh, Shashi, speaks about a major surgery
Well,
and
I've
you
said
echo
that.
his view, what do you have in mind specifically? What would you like to see?
Well, I'd like to see new faces coming in. I'm not saying we sweep out everybody from the old, but a combination of experience and youth. I'd certainly like to see some revival of structural change that Rahul Gandhi had begun thinking about. In particular, there are many parts of the country where the party isn't as effectively organized as it normally is in Kerala, where you have booths, wards, blocks, districts, mandalams, all very, very well worked out, well staffed and with hard-working workers. We need to create something like that. And one point that I think we are in danger of losing sight of in other parts of the country, which we do in Kerala, is to remember that the party is not only a machine to fight elections every 5 years, that between those 5-year periods of elections, there is a great deal we need to do with the people.
Right.
Politics is a form of social service.
Okay.
It's something the Congress has been good at in Kerala and it needs to be good at elsewhere.